She walked into the cafeteria holding her tray like it was a shield, her hands trembling so slightly that only someone who'd known fear before could notice. The chatter, laughter, and clatter of dishes around her felt like a storm, and she was right in the middle of it, alone. No one noticed her at first, but when they did, everything changed. What happened next made the entire school stop breathing for a few seconds, and by the time it was over, the same kids who mocked her were on their knees, crying and begging her for forgiveness. It started just like any other Monday at Ridgewood High, a place where popularity was a currency and kindness was rare. The new girl's name was Alina, a quiet 16-year-old with big brown eyes and hair that fell like a curtain she hid behind. Her clothes weren't fancy, just a worn-out denim jacket and faded sneakers, but her silence drew attention. In a school where everyone wanted to be seen, she was invisible until she was. Alina had just transferred from another city after losing her mother to a long illness. Her father, once a mechanic, had taken up night shifts to keep them afloat. They didn't have much, some second-hand furniture and memories that were painful to hold on to. But Alina was determined to start fresh. She promised herself she'd keep her head down, focus on studies, and not get involved in drama. But Ridgewood High had other plans. On her first day, as she stood in line for lunch, a loud voice came from the corner table. "Hey look, the thrift shop sent us a new student." The cafeteria burst into laughter. It was Brittany, the queen bee, tall, confident, and cruel in the way only someone who never faced consequences could be. Her followers, Lexi and Jade, giggled beside her, their eyes scanning Alina from head to toe. Alina's face burned, but she said nothing. She kept her eyes on her tray. She remembered her mom's words, "People can only take away your peace if you hand it to them." So she walked away, quietly, calmly, as laughter echoed behind her. But it didn't stop there. For the next week, every lunch break became a test of endurance. Whispers followed her down the hall. Her books were accidentally knocked over. Someone scribbled "loser" on her locker in red marker. She cried in the restroom once but quickly wiped her tears away before anyone could see. Then came the day that would change everything. It was raining hard outside, thunder rumbling in the distance. The cafeteria was packed. Alina sat alone, reading a small paperback she'd borrowed from the library, The Secret Garden. It was her escape, a small world where broken things healed. That's when Brittany and her group walked in, laughing, holding their lattes from the vending machine. They spotted her instantly. "Still reading your little fairy books?" Brittany smirked, walking over. "Do you even know how to talk to people, new girl?" Alina ignored her, turning a page. Brittany's grin turned cold. She grabbed Alina's book and tossed it onto the wet cafeteria floor. Oops. The laughter was cruel, sharp, echoing off the walls. Alina stood up slowly, her heart pounding in her chest. She didn't yell, didn't curse, didn't even look angry. She just bent down, picked up the book, and wiped the cover with her sleeve. Then, softly, she said, "You shouldn't do that." The room went quiet for a second. "Oh yeah, or what?" Brittany said, stepping closer. "You gonna cry?" Before Alina could answer, Brittany shoved her tray off the table. The soup spilled over Alina's jacket, dripping down her arms. The cafeteria gasped. Alina stood frozen, trembling, but not from fear. Something else flickered in her eyes, something that made Brittany take half a step back. Then, without a word, Alina picked up the tray and walked away. She didn't fight back, didn't run, just walked. Everyone thought that was the end of it, but it was only the beginning. That night, a video of the incident surfaced online. Someone had filmed it and posted it with the caption, "New girl gets wrecked lol." But by morning, things had changed. The comments weren't what Brittany expected. "This is disgusting. That girl looks like she's been through enough." You can see the sadness in her eyes. By noon, the principal had called Brittany, Lexi, and Jade to the office. The video had gone viral not just in their school but across the city. Local news outlets picked it up. And when they discovered that Alina's mom had passed away just 3 months earlier, public sympathy exploded. The girls were suspended, but that wasn't the part that broke them. It was what happened next. A week later, the school hosted a special assembly. The principal asked Alina to speak. She refused at first, but eventually agreed. When she stepped on stage, wearing the same denim jacket, the auditorium fell silent. Her voice was soft but steady. "I came here hoping to start over. I didn't expect kindness, I just hoped for silence." She paused, but what I got was a reminder that people can be cruel because they're hurting too, and maybe I needed to forgive, not for them but for me. As she spoke, Brittany's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, she saw the person behind the laughter, the girl she had hurt for no reason other than her own insecurity. When Alina stepped off the stage, Brittany walked up to her in front of everyone, her voice cracked. "I'm sorry," she whispered, falling to her knees. "I'm so sorry," Lexi and Jade followed, crying quietly. No one moved. The entire hall watched in stunned silence. The same girls who had laughed at her were now trembling, begging for forgiveness. Alina didn't humiliate them. She just smiled faintly and said, "It's okay, just don't do it to the next person." That moment changed the whole school. Teachers started new anti-bullying programs. Students stood up for each other. And Brittany, she became one of Alina's closest friends, spending months trying to make amends. But the real miracle wasn't in their tears. It was in Alina's strength, how she turned pain into grace, cruelty into compassion. Years later, Alina returned to Ridgewood High not as a student but as a motivational speaker. Her story had reached millions. She told young people everywhere that kindness wasn't weakness, that sometimes the quietest people carried the loudest hearts. And in the audience, Brittany sat in the front row, clapping through tears. Alina smiled and looked right into the camera as she ended her speech, her eyes full of the same calm fire that once silenced a cafeteria.